Minnesota man is behind bars after a chase on I-29 where he was going 125 miles an hour. A state trooper tried pulling over that person near 32nd Avenue South around 1:30 this morning, but that driver took off.
The chase ended near the 12th Avenue North exit when he lost control and ran over multiple road signs, then tried running away on foot. Grant Goodsell was arrested for DUI, fleeing, and other charges. New this morning, a Florida man has pleaded guilty to threatening to kill the lawyer who represented former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who was eventually convicted in the death of George Floyd. The U.S. Department of Justice says William Hartnett made the threat against Eric Nelson in a phone call from Miami on April 6.
Hartnett faces up to 5 years in prison. The death of George Floyd sparked protests nationwide and calls for police reform intended to reduce confrontation and violence with authorities. A Grand Forks man will be sentenced today for the 2020 shooting death of Grand Forks police officer Cody Holte. A jury last summer convicted Solomon Pendleton on 7 of 9 charges against him, including attempted murder of 2 other officers, the death of his own mother, terrorizing and reckless endangerment. Pendleton could be facing life in prison without the possibility of parole.
A federal grand jury has indicted a Minnesota man on charges of murder and other counts in the July killing of a Red Lake tribal officer. David Donald Jr. is now facing 11 charges, including first-degree murder. He had previously been charged with a lesser murder count in connection with the July murder of 37-year-old officer Ryan Bilkey. Court documents say Bilkey was killed after police responded to a welfare check on Donald, who was armed. Charges allege Donald shot Officer Bilkey through the front door.
North Dakota Game and Fish officials are asking for the public on information about a moose poacher. A cow moose was shot illegally in a field northwest of Tolly and Renville County. Officials think the animal was shot between 10 last Friday night and 7 the next morning.
The cow was shot several times with a shotgun and birdshot while possibly being chased by a vehicle. No meat was taken. Anyone with information should contact the poacher's hotline at 701-328-9921. Now, you can remain anonymous and still be eligible for a reward.
It is now 6:54 on this Friday morning. Let's get a check of your forecast. Big changes here coming up today and tomorrow, Lisa.
That's right. First alert weather day for today and now tomorrow as well. We're looking at chances for storms and the threat for potentially severe weather coming up here in the forecast. And in addition to that, some heavy rain as well. So here's a couple of things to keep in mind for the next couple of days. Timing both for today and Saturday for the potential for severe weather will be more into the afternoon and evening hours. For today, the threat is a little bit less. We're looking at 1 or 2 severe storms possible this afternoon and evening, with hail being the greater threat. For Saturday, more scattered, widespread storms and more severe potential. All threats possible heading into the evening hours. We're talking hail, and in addition to that, some lightning and damaging wind gusts. And tornado possible too, isolated, but still a possibility. And don't forget that heavy rain. So some concerns here over the next couple of days. And even this morning, we have some hazards to watch for. There's some lower visibility because of some fog that's developing in southeastern North Dakota. Wadena, visibility at 1.5 miles. And then in Langdon, we're at less than 2 miles, thanks to some rain and thunder that's already started up for us today. So you're gonna have to dodge some raindrops in the valley, including in Fargo-Moorhead. We're watching some spotty little showers working their way into the FM Metro right now. Some sprinkles to some light, steady rain. Shouldn't last too long, but you may notice it as you're getting ready to head out the door here this morning. And that stretches northward, where we have more robust storms happening here between Edmore and Fairdale, a little thunderstorm going on, and then also just south and west of Lincoln, it's moving to the northeast. Another little thunderstorm making its way there too. And the Northern Valley will be more of the focus for the isolated shot of rain and thunder off and on through the day. This is an area that's going to be more on the cloudy side and on the cooler side here today. Southern Valley, we may get the opportunity to get some sunshine and even warm up a little bit more before we see that rain and thunder threat that later on today as well. So here's a look at our current conditions. 60s to some upper 50s, so very warm. We've got some areas of fog, some areas of a little bit of rain, and some mostly cloudy skies out there. And working our way through the day, for Fargo, we'll have a shot of a little bit of rain here in the coming hour or so, and then beyond that, we may get into a quieter period before we end up into the evening hours tonight, seeing that rain and thunder move in. Elsewhere, it'll be shorter than that. Again, I mentioned that we're going to see more rain and thunder to the north and in the south, eventually getting some isolated storms that could be on the strong side. So if you're heading to a football game tonight, you're going to want your Valley News Live weather app with you. And tomorrow, homecoming for NDSU. a rainy one. We're looking at rain almost all day long somewhere in the valley, and it's going to be adding up. So have your rain gear handy and maybe that extra layer by the time we get into Sunday. Much cooler weather ahead.
Yeah, all right, Lisa, thank you for the heads up this morning.
A longtime Moorhead school bus driver has quit her job. She says she is fed up with disrespectful students. Rita Thompson drove Moorhead students to and from school for 13 years. But this week, she's had enough.
She says that she was tired of the school district not sticking up for the drivers.
So I shut my bus off, took the keys out, took it over to that bus and handed my keys to the director of transportation and told him to drive them home. I'm done. And I walked away.
The district's only comment is that staffing is a constant focus for its transportation team.
We have an update this morning on a police standoff in North Fargo that put a neighborhood on lockdown. The woman who called it in says her ex-husband is not telling the truth about what happened.
The Valley Today's Brian Sherrod joins us live in studio this morning with an update on what everyone is saying about what was a really big story earlier this week.
That's exactly right. You know, it started off with a standoff that was lasting a little over 3 hours, and that was in the 700 block of 14th Street North within Fargo. And what they were saying was just there's a big situation. Now, Amanda Knudsen called police about a domestic disturbance that led to a gun and shots fired situation. The family was then escorted out safely, leading to roads closing and a shelter-in-place order going out to the large area as SWAT team members moved in. Now the husband is speaking out, saying that the situation is not true. The wife responds saying he fired shots outside the home while her son's girlfriend was there, and she says she had returned from a trip when she found her husband had broken into her house.
He must have been over here because it was like boom, boom in the front. And I was like, I screamed. I'm like, girls, get downstairs. I come this way, go through the living room, shot again. Come over here in the dining room, shot again. And I was like, I have never been scared of anybody like this in my life.
So the situation continues to still be under investigation by Fargo police.
Brian Sherrod reporting live for us in studio. Thank you. There will be some road closures that you need to know about today as NDSU's homecoming parade is happening in Fargo.
It's happening at 5:30. Some roads in the area will be shut down at 2 this afternoon. They should be open by 8 this evening.
Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Today's question, 16% of us have broken up with someone over this.
The answer, because they cheered for a different NFL team.
That's why Vikings fans and Packer fans should not get married.
Cannot date a Wisconsinite. No, not going for it. Remember, you can play along every day.
The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but remember, the Valley Today rolls on. Join us right now for more live up-to-the-minute news and weather on the Fargo CW.